Welcome back to Punches and Bunches, the official podcast of the South Texas Amateur Boxing Association. We've got a very special guest today. My guest is Christian Schmidt, a widely renowned ring announcer of combative sports at all levels. He's also doing a little play-by-play these days with TV Azteca. Christian, thank you so much for joining us.
Matthew, thanks so much for choosing me, man. I'm really excited to be on here. You yourself, one of the hottest up and coming young guys, young officials in the game. I'm seeing you go in big places. So I'm really proud of you, happy for you, and how cool it is to be a guest on your podcast here on Punches and Bunches.
Absolutely. I appreciate you, brother, but we're here to talk about your journey because the world of ring announcing is such a interesting world, such a probably a small world, so few people that do it. So tell us, how did you get into ring announcing?
Well, a long time ago, I've always been a boxing fan, but a long time ago, when I grew up in San Antonio, and I used to host a TV show called The Edge, which was on CTSA, a cable network. I was in my early 20s, and we would get like guests and people that were prominent in the community. And if you're from San Antonio, you know there's only one major sports team. It's the San Antonio Spurs. So other than that, it's not like Houston and Dallas where, you've got multiple sports. So the boxers really serve as, you got the Spurs that are, the most popular athletes. Then you got, I think, in San Antonio, the boxers, which I think now the boxers more famous. But anyways, back then, so I had the pleasure of interviewing Jesse James Leha. I was so excited, a huge Leha fan. And then I got to meet some other guys like Lou Duva and Omar Davila and Oscar Diaz, God rest his soul. I just got my face kind of familiar with the scene, and I would go, and people involved in boxing would see me, and they'd be real nice to me because they would really want to be like maybe possibly interviewed or on the show, or they're smart as far as like getting that PR and that attention. And then eventually, I became such a fan. I attended the James Coker Alex Rios fight in June of '02. Sent in the results to Fight News one night. They asked me to be a correspondent in San Antonio. I was announcing for indie wrestling shows. So it finally took till 2013 in Laredo. I became a official pro boxing announcer, and now it's been 11 years. So it was a very long journey filled with media, and then eventually you get your opportunity. It's a few and far between opportunity because there's so many few opportunities for ring announcers. There's only one per show. And it's not like you got several boxers and sometimes officials and trainers and cutmen, and there's only one per show. So you got to really make it count when you got it. So it's been many years in the making, and it still is.
That's very interesting. And for one, I had no idea you were a Fight News correspondent. I grew up reading Fight News, so I bet I read some of your dispatches from San Antonio. That's a very interesting. You mentioned that the opportunities are few and far between. There's only one ring announcer. There's limited opportunities. I imagine, there's not that many people that have done it. So how did you train yourself to get better at it? What were your methods? What were your techniques to work to, where you started to where you are today? How did you get to where you are?
That's a really good question. Now, when I first started, I was 35 years old, and I just thought what the job consisted of was showing up and reading from a card. And in hindsight, that's true. But I learned through the years that it was so much more to that. I learned you have to contribute as much as you can to each show that you're on so the promoter knows your value. I still am a journalist for boxingtalk.com. I write in stories to help assist with the promotion, for example. But instead of just showing up and reading from a card, what I do is the week leading up, I add the fighters on social media. We reach out. Hey, my name's Christian. Nice to meet you. Can you tell me a little bit more about yourself? Where you want me to say where you're from? Do you have a nickname? How do you pronounce your name? Could be Spanish, could be English. And it could be a language I'm not familiar with at all, but I try to familiarize myself so much. So come fight night, like the way I describe it to people that have never done it, like when you go watch your favorite band, they're not up there, reading the music and, opposed to like they're up there without any type of of information that they're looking at. They're just flowing with it. They're singing, they're not thinking up there, they're just going with the flow. I try to be like that as much as I can as a ring announcer. I'll have ring cards, but I try not to look at them. I try to keep them by my side and then just have it all come out very naturally. And that's where I feel like it separates me from the other ring announcers is that, I've already practiced it. I've already rehearsed it. So it comes out more prepared and more attractive as far as the presentation goes. So I just learned to prepare myself, practice. The night before a fight, where I'm at the hotel, I will walk around the hotel 11 p.m., midnight, sometimes till 1, sipping on hot tea with honey in it, practicing my presentations. The following contest is scheduled for 4 rounds to take place in the middleweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner on the black trims, white trim. Bam, 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 bam. And then I'll go do the other guy. I do that and do that and do that to the point where it just comes out completely natural and it flows. That's what I could say I've learned the most as far as, in this profession.
Absolutely, and it's wonderful watching you work in there. I wonder, since you've been in the game, what are some of your favorite moments that you've been center ring for, that you've been the announcer for? Can you think of any great moments that come to mind?
Um, every single time when I put the tuxedo on, it's always very special to me. Um, the first time whenever I did it in Laredo, Texas, just finally getting to do it because I did it for years and independent wrestling. So to do it in pro boxing was a really special thing, in front of my family and such. Other than that, there was announcing on ESPN 3 for Austin Trout versus Jose Charles. There was announcing for Zab Judas Promotion Celebrity Championship Boxing in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Announcing outside the country in El Salvador was a lot of fun for me. Going to my mother's home state of North Dakota and announcing for Virgil Hill, my all-time favorite boxer. Announcing the Olympic trials in Salt Lake City is definitely up there. Every time when I announce in San Antonio, because I grew up there, is so special to me. Going new places, ultimately, commentating with Roy Jones Jr. has been mind blowing because of the magnitude, the level of superstardom he has. That's been something I'll never forget. But every time it's special that I do it. And TCL, Team Combat League in Houston last week. Every time it's special. Las Vegas, Miami, wherever I do it, it's so much fun. Hard to pinpoint just one, but right now, just so many different ones that I'm blessed to be a part of.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to touch on Roy, I want to touch on TCL, but I got one more question for you about announcing. Most of us will never know what it feels like. The main event's about to start, you're center ring, you're looking out, the crowd's looking at you, the boxers are looking at you, you're about to introduce the main event. What does that feel like? Is it nerve-wracking? Is it exciting? What is that moment like?
100% exciting, not nerve wracking at all, because by that time you're hot into the game. It's kind of like watching uh, an NBA basketball game, and there's less than 2 minutes left to go. And guys on both sides, it's really tense and it's a close game. And you think, well, would you be nervous? Well, the guys are so in the heat of the moment. They've been playing, they've been sweating, they've been putting everything they have into it. They really don't have that much time to think or get nervous. That's the way I feel when it's main event time. It's just like the vocals are ready. Um, I'm pumped up. I'm ready. I'm ready to make it shine. I plan so much to where, I mean, of course, I'm going to make errors and everything, but I try to make them very limited errors. I go over it in my head the night before or at ringside. It's always in the back of my head. Or I'll have good people around me that might tap me and say, Christian, don't forget the national anthem, or to say this main event is brought to you by this sponsor. But yeah, definitely, I'm more excited than any other emotion that I could have when it comes main event time, because it's my time to really give chills down the people's spines that are there in attendance and ultimately make the fighters want to fight.
And you do a great job at doing that. And that's why you recently had the opportunity to work with Roy Jones. I think you've worked with him a couple times recently, most recently in Washington State. Of course, he's the man on your shirt right now. He's such a legend. For me personally, he's probably my GOAT, my number one boxer of all time. So tell us what it was like to work with a legend like Roy Jones.
Well, I know that the cliche thing or the standard thing for me to say is, oh, he's just another man. Oh, he's just another human being. Oh, he's just another fighter to make myself sound all, like I belong. But I'm going to be honest, it is mind blowing. I mean, just for a couple times when I'm conversing, I got to remind myself that's Roy Jones Jr. I'm talking to. And of course, I've done it enough, and I'm used to it enough to where I'm not going, Roy, what do you think about that left hook? Or I mean, that goes out the window, but still, there'll be a couple times throughout us working together, that young college kid that was surrounded by his college buddies, watching Roy Jones Jr. knock out Glenn Kelly on that baited punch that he gave him back in '02, or just countless times I watched Roy live. And Roy's such a superstar. I remember when he's commented the big shows, been a part of the big shows, such a high level celebrity. I mean, I can't sit here and say, oh, it's just another guy. I mean, maybe one day I'll feel that way, but still, I'm still awestruck, and it's just like, wow, this is Roy Jones. Whether we're at the airport, whether we're in the lobby getting coffee, like I have a kind of a funny story going back to what I said about walking out the night before of a hotel. Um, I was doing that. It was at the Legends Hotel and Casino in Yakima Valley, Washington. It was the Thursday night before the Friday night, which is now 2 weeks ago. And so I do that. And Washington, oh, it's so cool and nice and mountain air and it's beautiful. And so I was looking forward to it. And I walked out of the entrance of the casino and I saw a guy kind of sitting on a bench leaning back with a hood kind of covering his face by himself. And I did a double take and I went, and it was Roy. And you really got to be a fan to understand. You got to be a boxing fan, sports fan. Someone you've seen years and years and years, he's human, but to be on that pedestal that you've seen so many years and the pound for pound king for so many years, just walking out, not expecting it. I knew he was there and everything, but still just humbly sitting on a bench, just kind of leaning back. I don't think he wanted to be recognized, but Roy, hey, I gotta, I don't sit there and try to bug him or annoy him too much, but it's like, yeah, it's like, there's Roy. You got in an Uber. Hey, see you later, champ. All walked off, and I did my thing where I go over the fighters' names and such. But that's the one moment that really sticks out for all my experiences with Roy. Is just that kind of that wow like moment with Roy. That yeah, it's the first time I ever told that story. Actually, right here to anybody. And so yeah, am I still in awe of Roy and other superstars that I've worked with, like Christy Martin and Virgil Hill and Zab Judah and Carlos Formosa, Hector Camacho, uh, Orlando Canizales, Gabby Canizales. I am. I'll always be that fan deep down.
And people forget with Roy that in addition to just being such a great boxer, he's also one of the best ringside commentators of all time. His work on HBO for many years. So I can just imagine, being next to him ringside calling the fight. I mean, that's got to be an experience that most of us will never have, but it's got to be one that's definitely one for the grandkids probably.
You'll say something to him, and it'll be witty, and I won't even have to prepare him, and I'll throw something his way, and it flows. He working with Jim Lampley and Harold Letterman for so many years on HBO. Jim Lampley's the GOAT, by the way, of commentating. I'll say something to him and he just takes it over. I'm not used to that when I'm commentating with a fighter. I'll have to be the one controlling it, but I'll say it to Roy. What do you think of this guy? What do you think about fighting here? What do you think about, the judges, what happened here last time? What do you think about this rematch? And he will just flow. Um, and yeah, there's a clip of us introducing the show that if you see it on YouTube, you really are like, whoa, he's just so good at that. It's like, what is he not good at? Basketball, pound for pound king of boxing, commentating, he's so smooth. Now training, he's got about 15 to 20 guys that he trains in Pensacola, and he has his RJJ promotions, and he'll take them around. It's like an international stable. He has fighters from Sweden and Germany, U.S. obviously, and so I mean the guy is like he's good at he excels at everything he does. It's not even just boxing, so it's like wow, they call him Superman for a reason.
Just all around one of the best in the business. Let's move on talking a little more about your career. I know you recently made your debut doing the announcing at the Team Combat League event. We might be working together soon because I'll be refereeing one of those events here in a couple weeks. Tell me what that experience was like working with the Team Combat League.
Okay, it's totally different compared to what you're used to with traditional boxing, and you got to get used to that. Now, it's a very attractive concept to um, to make a league out of pro boxing. You got to be open-minded to it, and once you're open-minded to it, it'll be a little bit different. But once you're open-minded to it and you accept it, you're gonna really like it. I mean, you've got your favorite baseball team, you've got your favorite football team, you got your favorite soccer team, basketball team, whatever. But now to have your favorite boxing team, you can incorporate it into a team sport. Now, people say, well, how do they do it? Well, it's not fights, it's rounds. So like you'll have San Antonio versus Houston, and they have the launch rounds, first 8 rounds, secondary rounds, and then the money rounds. And with each round, it'll either be a 10-9 round, or if there's a knockout, a 10-8 round, or if there's a knockout, it's a 10-7. And so that's how you tally your points. So at the end of the night, you could have San Antonio 258 to Houston 232. And you announce the results after each round. So there's 24 rounds. And once you're comfortable and understanding the concept, you'll get into it. It's just for us boxing traditionalists like myself or yourself that have been watching, traditional boxing for so long. It's a bit different, but enter it with an open mind. And once you've gotten that open mind, you'll be able to enjoy it, have fun with it, understand the team-like aspect of it, and you'll be able to enjoy it, and then you'll be getting into it, and then you'll understand. You just got to be open-minded and learn the rules, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm looking forward to hopping in the ring for one of those events. We'll see how that goes. By
On
the
May
time
2nd
May 2nd, yes, sir.
at Boeing Tech Board.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah,
All
good
right.
for you. I'm glad you're going to be there.
Well, there you have it, folks. We'll be working together. Christian on the announcing, and I'll
I
be
hope.
refereeing.
I
So,
hope so. I don't know right now, but I hope
oh,
so.
oh well, potentially, potentially.
Yeah,
Uh,
potentially.
Um, so anyway, this will have already aired by the time you do this, but I know you're working the Junior Olympics, the amateur South Texas Junior Olympics this weekend. It's a little different doing the amateurs versus doing the pros. So talk about how cool it is, to give those kids out there a little taste of having a pro announcer, get them excited for their fights this weekend.
Well, what a privilege it is. I mean, for years, I'm going to go ahead and make a confession. I didn't have any interest in the amateur scene. I thought it was always a step down. And until I really got involved when I did the Olympic trials in Salt Lake City, Utah, I saw how focused the officials, the fighters, the trainers, the dedication, the passion that they had at that level. I was not aware of this. And I mean, how seriously um, they take it. I mean, how far they will travel to partake in these fun events and to know that they're living out their dreams. And boxing, is it a rough sport? Is it a brutal sport? I mean, yeah, it is. But to know that the kids that are boxing in the ring can't be doing this and being on drugs and being a part of gang life and being a part of crime and living out there on the street, breaking the law, you cannot do both at the same time. You have to stay on the straight and narrow because no coach is going to waste their time. the legalities and things of what you have to go through as far as being accepted in USA Boxing, Stab, and places like that. You can't be involved in that bad stuff, or a trainer with a felony, or it helps that you stay on the straight and narrow, and that's what I'm the most proud of. I just see so much tradition and a family like atmosphere when I see everybody involved, and what a great way to expand your horizons, and here you're going to know somebody from another city or another state or even maybe another country at international style tournaments. But a great way to stay dedicated, maintain that passion. It's a whole nother world, the amateurs. And at the Junior Olympics, it'll be the biggest Junior Olympics in the United States, regional tournament in the United States, headed by Javier Garza and the greatest South Texas heavyweight of all time, Eric, the drummer boy Molina, are putting that together. And they always do such a great job. And I mean, I know I keep using the word, but just passion, everybody involved, and how excited and how dedicated they are. That's what really threw me for a loop. Like when I finally got involved, to see the kids traveling from far places many times, and their parents dedicated, and the officials too. And that's the only time I rarely ever ask anything of the crowd. I do ask, especially at those amateur tournaments, to be respectful of the officials, the referees, because if it wasn't for you guys, we couldn't even have these tournaments, and we couldn't get together and do this. And your main focus is safety, number one. And that's the way it should be, and it'll always be. We got to keep all the participants safe. And so I remind the crowd of that. And I mean, obviously you're going to have some moments that might get a little tense from a coach or a parent. And I don't like those moments, or I don't like the boos. And I respectfully say, please do not boo these officials. They're doing their absolute best. But I just love to see how excited and how into it the participants get in those grandiose amateur tournaments.
Very well said, and I'll close out with this one. You've done a lot already this year. We're only in the month of April, but you've done TCL, you've worked with Roy, got the Junior Olympics coming up this weekend. For the rest of the year, the next 8 months, where else can we expect to see you at ringside?
Well, I'm really excited because I am going to be announcing in my hometown of San Antonio, May 10th, at AAA Promotions for Rick Huerta Nunez. There's a big card that's going to be happening there. Then May 17th in Laredo, Texas. Going to be on TV Azteca, Texas. After that, TFL, MMA in South Padre Island, May 31st. Then after that, we're looking at the Dominican Republic for Macho Fest. Hector Camacho Jr. is going to fly me out there. I'll be back in Miami at the end of July, back in Edinburgh in September for Raul Tigre Casas. Several other possible opportunities with TCL. I'll be back with Roy again soon, probably in the same state back up in August. But all over Texas. Texas is my state. I really, really, really am doing everything I can to go back to Vegas. I announced out in Vegas in February, and your feet don't touch the ground if you're a boxing person once you land. Your feet don't touch the ground, so you go back, and you don't even want to sleep because it's just the ambience is just awesome. You're at the Mecca. So as many places as I can, and everybody's welcome to follow me on my Facebook. Just find me Christian Schmidt, and then Christian Schmidt Announcer on my Instagram as well. So yeah, that's where you can find me.
So lots of work coming up, well deserved. You're so great at what you do. And that's Punches and Bunches for today. Our guest was Christian Schmidt, the widely renowned and world traveling ringside announcer. Christian, thank you so much for joining the program today.
Matt, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And you yourself are doing great work. So happy to be working alongside you. A young guy doing this. The world is yours. Keep it up. And am I going to see you in Edinburgh?
Yes, you will. I'll be there.
I look forward to seeing you there, my man. So yeah, I guess you're leaving tomorrow. I'm leaving tomorrow, but I know the episode's going to air after that. But special thanks also to all of Staba. All of your hard work is paying off. I can honestly say that, and I say this in full confidence, top three cities in the entire United States for boxing: Vegas, New York City, and now it's San Antonio. And that wouldn't be possible without Stabber. So, all of you Stabber related, keep doing what you're doing, putting us on the map. Never in a million years when I first got involved in boxing would I say San Antonio was the number three city in the United States, but in my heart. And I'm not saying that because I am born and raised in San Antonio. I'm saying that because I truly feel like it. So all of you guys, thanks for everything that you do, and definitely keep it up, and let's continue to grow.
That's a great way to close this one out. Thank you, Christian.
All right, Matthew, much love. See you soon.